Love, light, and blessings. Shamanic Arawak Priestess here. Welcome to day 21 of 29 days of Melanated Excellence. So I think I'm going to end with this one, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the other two videos because I want to give them their due respect. Okay, so this is going to cover Sunday. Okay, this is going to cover Sunday. So today's topic is going to be about spirit dolls, puppets, whatever the case may be, aka voodoo dolls. Now, I don't like that term. Other people can use it however they want. I'm going to speak of a descendant of slavery and that kind of thing, a descendant of people that have been genocide, all that kind of stuff, okay? When it is used, when they colonized my people, they use voodoo doll as a derogatory term. If you look at the spiritual community, certain people look at it as a joke. They'll have goddess imagery. They'll have Ganesh. Oh, I made a voodoo doll for Ganesha, and all this kinds of just mishmashing, right? There's nothing wrong with being eclectic. My only issue with the title of someone saying I'm eclectic is when they use it as an excuse to disrespect a tradition. Or because I'm eclectic, I take whatever I want, I do whatever, without paying respect to the traditions that these practices are coming from. And some people use it as a license to just do whatever the hell they want and not care about the feelings of other people. That's not everybody, okay? Because I am, to a certain extent, eclectic. I practice more than one path. That is what eclectic is, someone who practices more than one path. A lot of us are eclectic, but there's a way you do it respectfully versus making an excuse just to do whatever you want and hurt people, marginalize people. And so I don't like the word voodoo doll because of the way it's used. It's referenced in movies, Chucky. In the movie Chucky, he actually named deities and I never noticed how racist that movie is. Deities that I actually work with. And things like it made it look like voodoo was evil because he was a serial killer and he knew how to do all this stuff. You have movies like Ma, you like all this stuff, American Horror Story. I do not support that show because I did not like how they portrayed voodoo. I have clients that actually ask me if that stuff is true, and I'm like, oh my Lord. But yeah, so there's people that think that stuff is true, and they think, oh, we're gonna hire people of color to portray all these racist and misinformed stereotypes, So this is why I'm so sensitive to that term, okay? In Haiti, in Haitian voodoo, we just call it puppets, puppets, or puppets. We do use spirit dolls. It's not the biggest thing in the practice, but yes, I use them, whether they're for healing purposes, whether they're for other purposes, okay? I work the right and the left hand, so, but it's not this stupid pop culture, I'm going to bend the leg of the doll and the guy's leg falls out. It's so dumb how they portray it in media. There is a sacredness to it. I made a spirit doll for someone in my family that was really sick, and I was told to do this by my spirit guide. La Madama was like, this is how you do it. I did it. Made a video thanking her for it a couple of years ago. And the person recovered. So I use them on clients for certain things, okay? My spirit dolls, my voodoo dolls, whatever you want to call it. I make them out of clay. I've used wooden. I make them, I sew, so I'll make an actual material doll. So, I do different types. I make them all myself. I don't buy them. And I use them for certain types of workings that I'm doing for clients, so on and so forth, okay? But there's a sacredness to this. There is a way in my traditions that we make them. There are reasons we make them. We infuse the essence of someone into these dolls, into these spirit dolls. They can also be made if someone passes away as a homage, so it could be for healing. It could be for protection. It could be for love. It could be for so many things. It's just multifaceted. And the traditions did date back to Africa for healing purposes. They did have totems and things like that that they would stick pins into to pretty much take the afflictions of the people that went into the elder, the spiritual leader, for different things. So yes, there is a practice that you do stick pins in them, or you sew things, or you put things into them, or whatever the case may be, or you house them in certain places, or whatever. Yes, I have protected myself from some really strong stuff with these types of dolls. It is something I don't teach people because it's like, it can be like a very powerful practice, and you have to be careful like who you share these things with, because this type of power in the wrong hands could do a lot of harm, if that makes sense. So you always have to be careful like what you're sharing, but it's been a very beautiful practice for me, a very healing practice, a very protective practice. And it's just really sad that you can, literally Google the word voodoo doll, and everybody sells it like it's a joke and it's a gimmick and it's a game. You have voodoo chips, and they're just using the term voodoo in such a derogatory, funny, joking way it's really sad, and it's like a really big disservice to people, because when you are a marginalized person, when you have been, and this is not just even in slavery, like even recent history, of people being killed by regimes from other countries, or people claiming to bring Christianity into the island and literally genocide people because of their religious beliefs, and break peristyles and break religious artifacts, claiming like we're going to bring Jesus. This is still happening to this day. People are trying to enforce their religious beliefs on people that they don't want to believe what you're saying. And people have died because of it. You do have some people that think that they're doing good by hurting people for practicing their indigenous religions. It happens to our people. It happens to indigenous people all the time. Nobody talks about how the poverty in Haiti is because of other parts of the world interfering on them wanting to self-rule, when they became the first free black country to be liberated by their own enslaved population. Okay. And how the United States robbed money, how France made them pay money, how America made sure they paid that money, how America illegally occupied Haiti, and just so many atrocities, and the infrastructures and dictators that took over Haiti, and all these things that happened, and wealth being robbed from the island, and the way that the Tainos are not recognized in the islands, and not giving back their lands, not giving back reparations to former descendants of enslaved people of both African and indigenous lineage, and how over 500 tribes are being refused their birthright of being able to have protection of being a tribe. There's just a lot going on. And when people think they're funny when they are appropriating things, or when they're misappropriating things, and when they're selling things to make money off the term voodoo or shaman this and shaman that, I want to ask you one question, and I'll leave this, and leave it there. If that is something that calls to you, and I'm not saying it doesn't, would you stand up for those people that originally come up for those traditions? In other words, if Haitian voodoo calls to you, will you be an ally to a Haitian? Would you be someone who would speak on the behalf of Haitians, and how their religion in their country that was created in Haiti, Haitian voodoo comes from Africa, but Haitian voodoo is in Haiti. Dominican voodoo is in Santo Domingo, okay? Are you going to stand up for those people that are literally demonized, that only became a religion in the 2000s when it was legal? So for all those years, it was illegal. For all those years, you had people coming in, displacing and disrespecting and demonizing these sacred indigenous practices. Are you willing to drink from the same waters? Are you willing to speak on the behalf of them? Because I practice Haitian voodoo, I have made it my thing to give back to Haiti, a country that has given me so much. Because I practice espiritismo, because I practice Santeria, I have made it my goal to give back to the Caribbean in some way, to be an ally to those people, to marginalize people. If you are called to work with Native spirits, are you willing to stand up when you see a Native American in their own country, being forced into reservations that have some of the reservations in the Americas, the condition of them? You'll be astonished at poverty, the lack of jobs, and the issues that go on within that. And then seeing how when you leave the reservation, how lonely some of these Native indigenous people become, because it's a shock. It's a whole different life. Seeing my daughter's ex and being able to have had that interaction, being demonized and bullied because he wore long hair for religious reasons. Me refusing to straighten my hair because of the way that I was dehumanized and fetishized. While some people think that Pocahontas is a great movie, I hated that movie because it made the boys in my class fetishize me. Having a teacher, when you tell her, yes, I am someone who is of mixed indigenous Taino spirituality, and having my great grandmother dance with me in a spiritual way when she did practice things before she converted to Christianity, okay, and then said everything was evil. Having a teacher, and I'm not knowing that was racist, telling me to dance in the middle of my class like a good little Indian, okay? Having a neighbor knock on my door and say, hey, what are you, some kind of Indian? Or when I was going through my domestic violence situation and I wanted to apply for Section 8, and I was told, why don't you go into your own housing? Don't you people get money from the government? So again, there is this dehumanizing thing, this fetishizing thing that we do with indigenous people because it's exotic and it's cool. Let me, let me buy a bone stick and throw bones everywhere and put a African Haitian voodoo costume for Halloween. Voodoo is not a costume. Shamanism is not a costume. Dressing up as a Native American on Halloween, that is not a costume. My culture, that my people get killed on a daily basis for the color of their skin and the religions they practice, that's not a costume. That is a sacred way of life. That is a sacred way of life. And so I leave you with these thoughts. My culture is not a costume. I am more than Pocahontas. Pinching my skin, playing with my hair when I straighten it, saying weird things. I'm a human. Before anything else, I am a human being. I'm not exotic. I'm not spicy. I'm not flavored. I'm a human. We are human. Native Americans, Haitians, people of African descent are human. They're human. I've seen people do that to my daughter. She has a beautiful afro that I used to have when she was younger. And you will see all these people playing in my daughter's hair. Don't touch her hair. Oh, it's so soft and it's so coily and I love how round it is. Oh, how cute. She's a human. We are all the humans. So I kind of just want to leave you guys with that thought. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Please like, please subscribe, please comment below. Leave your thoughts there. And I will be returning tomorrow with Monday and Tuesday. So day 22 and day 23. And by next Monday, guys, we are done. March 1st is the last day, guys. So thank you so much for hanging in there. Much love, much light, much blessings. Bye, everybody. Talk to you guys later.